So many European countries after the war are in really dire economic strains, which makes them vulnerable to communist takeovers. It's basically what we saw happening in Russia when the communists took over there. It's similar to what happened in Germany and in Italy when the fascists took over there. When you're in a really desperate economic situation, any change is going to sound like good change. And all of Europe is really, really struggling right after the war. So we are going to do our best to lift these countries up and help them because we don't want communism to spread to those countries. So George C. Marshall, who was President Truman's Secretary of State. He'll eventually also be his Secretary of Defense, but at this point, he's his Secretary of State. He comes up with something that we call the Marshall Plan, and he delivers that to the President's administration in June of 1947. And basically, he suggested that the United States assist European countries rebuild their economies on the condition that they develop a complete recovery program. That they complete a recovery program that we put into place. So basically, like if you get a speeding ticket and you can take the class, the don't speed class and get out of the speeding ticket type thing. It's sort of like that. We have this program that we want countries to complete. It's basically like low-key an anti-communism program. And as long as you take the class and complete the program, then we'll give you all the money, basically. And we're going to pump like billions of dollars into this. He announces his plan was against hunger, poverty, desperation, and chaos, but really he just means communism. So 16 countries are going to meet in Paris at the Committee for European Economic Cooperation, which I've got written there on the slide. And basically we say that under the Marshall Plan, we're going to give between, oh God, this is an insane amount of money. We're going to give between 16 billion and 23 billion over a 4-year plan. And anyone who wants this money can have it. They just need to sign up for the program and go through the program and they can have the money. Very, very easy. So the Soviet Union is obviously going to refuse to participate, and they actually forbid all of their satellite states from participating as well. So all of the countries that the Soviet Union is supposed to be in control of right now, Yugoslavia, Czechoslovakia, I guess at the time it's Czech Republic, Austria, East Germany, Bulgaria, Romania, all of those places, the Soviet Union calls them up and they're like, absolutely not. You cannot take this money. You cannot do this program. This is not allowed. But we're offering a lot of money, and some of these countries really, really need it. But the Soviet Union really doesn't want anything to advance our power, just like we don't want anything to advance their power. So do you think that it's appropriate that countries be allowed to take it? Well, some of them are going to. Actually, just one out of all those countries. Now, obviously, plenty of Western countries are going to want to take this money, but of all of those Soviet states, only one will take it, and it is Yugoslavia. The leader of Yugoslavia at the time, I think his name was Tito. He basically gave the Soviet Union a giant middle finger. Was like, no way, man, I'm definitely taking this money because we really need it. So all of this, the Marshall Plan, is all part of that policy of containment, right? We're all doing this in an attempt to prevent the spread of communism. Now, Russia is going to start to feel like we're doing things to prevent the spread of communism, and they're correct. So they're going to get really paranoid starting in the late 1940s. In April of 1948, after the Marshall Plan was put into effect, Western Europe saw a very quick recovery. After we dumped all that money into Western Europe, everything was getting really awesome. And we want to try to make things even better by cutting back on a lot of the inflation that they had seen. Because of the loans, by 1951, all of the countries that took it had reached their pre-World War I production status. So basically their economy was back to where it was before the war happened. All the countries who participated in that program, which is really incredible. So in June of 1948, the Western countries decided to unite West Germany, the American sector, the French sector, and the British sector, under a new currency, since the old currency had become so inflated, and it still also had Hitler's face on it, and that's awkward, so we need to get rid of that. And we didn't want this to just be a West Germany currency. We wanted this to be the German currency. So we call up East Germany. We're like, hey, man, we're making this new currency. Get in on this. Let us know if you want to be part of this. We'll ship you some money, and the whole thing will be great. We'll all be on one currency. And the Soviet Union absolutely flips out because they're like, absolutely not. We don't want to be united. We don't want, this is all some capitalist conspiracy to like bring down the Soviet Union. They're like freaking out about it. Now, to be honest, it is absolutely a capitalist conspiracy to bring down the Soviet Union, but we didn't want it to play out that way, right? We just want to seem like we're trying to help out Western Europe and Western Germany. So they definitely say no to the money. So we're like, okay, fine. You don't have to take the money. We'll do the money. And that just means that you guys will be on a separate currency from us. No big deal. So the day before the currency is supposed to arrive, the Soviet Union, on July 24th of 1948, they cut off all traffic into the city of Berlin. Now, why is that a problem? Because half of Berlin is supposed to be under the control of France, Great Britain, and the United States. And you can't get to that half if you can't get through the Soviet sector. And so they're the ones controlling traffic in and out of that city, whether or not it's our sector. So we can't get the money into it. Not only can we not get the money into West Berlin, we can't get food into West Berlin. We can't get medical supplies. We can't get construction supplies. We can't get anything into West Berlin because they've cut off all the roads. So President Truman is going to be forced to send American troops to airlift food, fuel, and other necessary supplies into Berlin to basically keep the West Berlin citizens alive. It's called the Berlin Airlift. And we actually do this all the way up until the September of 1949. We're going to do this for over a year. We're going to have to airlift supplies into West Berlin because the Soviet Union won't let us bring anything in by land. So the impact of this is that this is making it clear that the Soviet Union feels threatened by the United States and that they are willing to make irrational decisions, jeopardizing people's safety, even civilians. And this makes us feel even more threatened by the Soviet Union than we did before. So that's making us want to contain things even more and prevent the spread of communism even more than we were already. So this is very much, we are in it now. The Cold War is officially on.